So it isn't that often that I get really excited about audio components. But today I do have some excitement, and it's about the Denon PMA-A110 Integrated Amplifier. Hey folks, I'm Gene Delasala with Audioholics. So you guys saw my unboxing of the Denon PMA-A110 Integrated Amplifier. You saw my bench test results. I talked about how this thing was so built on a sterner platform that you would see in most audio products these days. I talked about how it measured really well, how the thing put out so much more power than its 80-watt figure. It sounded like it wasn't as powerful as it was, but the fact of the matter is this thing is a beast. It can handle low impedance loads all day long, doesn't dissipate a lot of heat when it's driving tough speakers. I wanted to talk about the sound quality because I know a lot of people on this channel always say, hey, you talk all these things about measurements, but you never talk about the sound. Well, as you guys know, sound is subjective. I try to give you all the facts, all the objective facts through measurements, but for once I'm going to indulge you and I'm going to give you my subjective impressions of the Denon Integrated Amplifier. So I will tell you this, just looking at it, it sounds good. Just seeing that brushed aluminum, the beautiful finish on it, it makes you want to listen to this product. It definitely biases me to like the product without even hearing it. So take my subjective listening test with a grain of salt. I'm going to be honest with you that most reviewers won't. So when I put this thing on and I played music through it, to me everything sounded really full. I'm using the Paradigm 800F Premier speakers. I used the Bowers & Wilkins 704 S2s. I used my Revel F328BE, 3 different kinds of speakers, 3 different loads. The Revels were a 4 ohm load, much more difficult load to drive than these Paradigms. But in every situation I listened to this amp, I felt satisfied. Very satisfied. And in fact, for a couple of months in this room, I didn't have surround sound set up. I just had these 2 Paradigm Premier 800F speakers. We were watching all of our video, all of our movies. We watched Hamilton. We watched Godzilla. We watched everything in just 2 channel in here. And this room was filled with sound. I couldn't believe, some of it is because these Paradigms really kick ass. But the other factor is this amplifier kicks ass. And it was such a satisfying, clean experience listening to this from top to bottom, listening to music on Tidal, whether I was listening to Post Malone or Porcupine Tree or Phil Collins or Diana Ross or Diana Krall. Everything I listened to just came in really clear, very confidently on this amplifier. It never sounds strained. It played plenty loud for my listening taste, played plenty loud for my wife who would leave the room on many times when I cranked it up too high. But I never felt the bottom end of this amplifier on these speakers in this listening environment. And that speaks volumes for a product that's only rated at 80 watts a channel. As you guys know, the 80 watts is very conservative. This thing can double down in lower impedances, which is great because it has big heatsink area. It has two E-core transformers, one for the plus rail, one for the minus rail, very high rated caps, very audiophile. Binding posts on the back, very well supported, so you could put really heavy gauge wire in there without having to worry about anything coming loose. I just love all that stuff. But there are things that kind of bothered me that I think they could have improved upon, possibly in the next model. I realized that this is a limited production and it was built in the Shirakawa factory in Japan. That's where all their best stuff is built, like the old Denon 5805, the Denon AVP separates. The best of the best Denon is built there. Glad that this is part of that heritage. But some issues I'd like to see improved in the future. They have an auto on feature that senses signal coming in and it turns it on. But the thing never shuts off. And sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night, I'd go out to get some water, and the amp would be on. It just decided to turn itself on. So I would tell you to disable the auto on feature, because what's the point of having an auto on if there's no auto off? If there's no signal playing through it for 20 or 30 minutes or an hour, it still stays on. That's an oversight, in my opinion, on Denon's part that they need to address in future models. In my situation, I turned that off. The biggest thing, and I've seen comments down below in the unboxing video, and I noticed this right away, there's no subwoofer out. on this $3,600 integrated amp. There's no preamp outputs. There's preamp inputs, but there's no preamp outputs. How do you not have preamp outputs? I would at least have a subwoofer output, because every audiophile should have a subwoofer integrated into their system, even if they have full range speakers. Just because you want better bass distribution in your room, it's usually a good idea to have a subwoofer output to be able to supplement your bass. So even if they made the subwoofer output have no filter at all, you could do your bass management locally in the sub. That would be great. So I hope Denon can include that in the future. Everything else on the product was great. The DACs were excellent. I listened to music running the DACs on the Denon, and I felt like it was definitely state of the art with those Burr Browns, because they use quad differential DACs. That's serious business for a product. Let me tell you, that's some of the best that I've heard. It supports native DSD, so you SACD levels will be treated to that. And yeah, I just can't say enough good things about it. Now, we do have the A110 SACD player we're going to be reviewing separately. That should be coming in a few months. But I'm just going to tell you that I like this product so much that it's remaining in the Audioholics Smart House. We're going to use it in our music room downstairs. We're going to be powering, different speakers. This is the product I'm going to be using when I get new products in here, new speakers in here, and I want to do quick evaluations. I know that I've got a solid foundation with this amplifier. This is the amplifier I'm going to be doing most of my 2-channel reviews with. So I want to know from you guys, what are your favorite kind of audio products? I love integrated amps. I'm a sucker for 2-channel integrated amps. I like their simplicity. I like the fact that they generally put better parts in an integrated amp versus an AV receiver that has a tuner. They're just fun products to review. I want to know down below what your favorite audio products are. Are there any Denon PMA-A110 owners here that have this integrated amp? Please share your experiences down below. And don't forget about our Patreon channel at patreon.com/audioholics. We appreciate your support. You get direct access to me, so you can ask questions, suggest video topics. And until next time, my friends, keep listening. So you saw my unboxing video of the PMA-A110, very confusing.